Boro Aboye. The Yoruba concept of the human journey is called the Jolaye, the journey of life. And interestingly, in that journey of life, you you travel apparently in a straight line, but you end up running in circles. And each time you revisit a place in the circle on this journey of life, if you're fortunate, you will learn something, and your return will be richer than your original arrival, right? So you learn something, you get better, you get smarter, you get wiser, you become more compassionate, your perspective is more complete. So you're revisiting a place, but you're a new person, okay? And what's important to recognize is that in the journey of life, you've got to experience the hardships, the triumphs, the defeats, as well as the miracles, in order for you to become whole and complete along the way. And this journey begins with inspiration. When you're small, when you're a little baby, you're inspired. You're just enveloped in this sense of awe. And as you have these different experiences, ups and downs, highs and lows, good and bad, bitter and sweet, you become wise, right? And then at the end of the journey, if you're fortunate, you will end the journey even more inspired than when you got here, because your inspiration is now coupled with or couched in all this wisdom. So my mother would say to me when I was very small, son, you need to build a monument of your life through your relationships. And that monument of life is what I now call, the masterpiece. Your life is a masterpiece. This is your greatest work of art, right? This is the thing that you're aspiring to be known for. It's your contribution to the world that you'll be remembered for countless generations. This is the masterpiece of your life. Now, if you know anything about relationships, the key word in every relationship is I. Right? I am because we are. But we cannot be if I don't know who I am. So you got to really grapple with first establishing who you are in the relationship with the world around you. And that's of the people, that's your relationship with the living environment, the birds, the trees, the fish, the mountains, the stars, the clouds, the wind. You got to understand, who are you in relationship to those things? Who are you in relationship to the town, the city? Who are you in relationship to the government? Okay? Who are you in relationship to your ancestors? And that's for you to determine for yourself based on your own orientation in life. Maybe you're a bundle of neurons and cells and tissue. Maybe that's how you define yourself. Maybe you're a citizen. Maybe you're a social security number. Maybe you're a credit score. Maybe you are an address, right? It's not for me to determine or judge how you define yourself. That's for you and you alone. Who are you in relationship to the journey of life and everything that you will encounter along the way? And some people would frown on that perspective, but I think that, my understanding of the Orisha is that they're not all coming from the same point of departure. They're trying to get to the same destination. They're trying to come to the same realization, but their points of departure are very different. Okay, and so ours are different too. It's reinforced in the Odu Ifa. There are tens of thousands of Odu, if not millions of Odu, verses of Ifa, and each one represents a path, and that path can reach the very bosom of Olodumare. There's no odui fa that cannot be fulfilled. And that fulfillment represents balance and harmony. Okay. So as this energy is moving from inspiration to wisdom and back around to inspiration, where you start and the path that you take is your own, right? But here's where divination and dreams become very important, because even though you may have a point of departure that, let's say, for lack of better terms, it could be very not spiritual, very material. Your point of departure can be very, very material, right? Your dreams and your divination are going to introduce you to those aspects of your existence, of your consciousness, of your awareness that are much more expansive. They're going to take you way out of your ego awareness and consciousness. They're going to put you into contact with something that you must reconcile in order to be at ease with yourself. And that's the purpose of dreams and divination. They expand your connection to something bigger than yourself. Okay? And so the question that I like to ask throughout this process, along the journey, and the question I want to encourage you to ask yourself every single day is, can you do better? Can you do better? And when I say can you do better, I mean, can you be happier? Can you experience and share greater degrees of freedom? Can you be more at ease with yourself? Can you be more comfortable in the skin that you're in? Can you be more authentic? Okay, that's what I mean when I say, can you do better? Can you be a higher, better version of yourself? Is basically what I'm asking you. I want you to ask yourself that question at least once a day. Did I do my best today? Did I really aspire to the highest and the fullest and the deepest version of myself? Because, there are people and circumstances that really specialize in insecurity. They specialize in making you feel that somehow you're inadequate, or you're incomplete, or you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not rich enough, or you're not, pretty enough, you're not handsome enough. There's always this idea that something is missing and that you don't, have what it takes in order to be the highest version of yourself. And that is entirely not true. Of course, your vision of life, your destiny, ought to terrify you. It ought to intimidate you. It ought to overwhelm you when you really, continue to ask yourself that question, and you get that little response to say that, you really could do this. You really could be this. You really could make this kind of a contribution. When you really get that glimpse of what you could be and what you ought to be, yeah, it should put a little fright in your heart, in a very good way, because that is, that's what I'm talking about with dreams and divination. They bring you into contact with an energy that's so much greater than you that you feel like, wow, that would be fantastic. I really could do that, but that would be terrifying. When you get that sense, that's your sense of awe. That's your sense of inspiration getting activated and reactivated over and over again. And so there's a distinction I want to make there between being manipulated into insecurity and being a little bit intimidated, or a lot intimidated by your fear. And this is classic, right? When you look at the hero's journey, all the hero's journey is characterized by this fact that the hero is always weak. The hero is always afraid. The hero is always reluctant to take on the charge in the beginning, and sometimes throughout the journey. But particularly as the journey begins, the hero is really not about it. I'm not about that life. I don't want to do that. It's his or her trusted advisor who remains always strong, right? And you see that, of course, in the Oduifa, where Oromila is always in the position of the advisor. That's his position. He maintains strength and stability and focus and groundedness and an unwavering confidence, not only in the hero, but in the cause that the hero serves. Okay? So it's natural for you to be afraid. It's natural for you to be intimidated. It's natural for you to be reluctant to take that leap. Right? But it's also natural for you to align yourself with a trusted advisor who is going to see something greater in you than you see in yourself, who's going to recognize the relationship between you and this bigger cause, this greater purpose, right? And it will not yield. It will not allow you to yield and say, no, this is the place for you. No, that's the location where you're going to find your magic. This is what you've got to do. And they're going to help you continue to take that journey, right? The journey of life, whether you're experiencing the highs or you're experiencing the lows, the bitter or the sweet. It's your trusted advisor who is going to help give you the context that you need in order to stay confident and progressive on the journey of life. Okay? And so I want to refer back to, I took some notes earlier about this very subject, and I want to share with you some of the things that I think are important as you make the journey of life and you discover some of the details and the particulars of creating your masterpiece, because it seems very broad and expansive and even esoteric, but it boils down to some real simple things that your trusted advisor will help you to do and that you will be looking to do within yourself. One of which is tapping into your dreams. Your dreams and your divination are going to be crucial for, number one, helping you with your self-discovery. Right? Your dreams and divination are essential to self-discovery and you really understanding who you are. Okay? Number two, having a daily ritual and charting a spiritual plan. That is, making a plan for your life, making a plan for this season, making a plan for this particular project or the activity that you're about to embark upon that accounts for your spiritual reality. That in conjunction with your daily ritual will help you to establish the discipline and the focus that is also necessary, right? And lastly, your relationships and your authenticity, your sense of sincerity in those relationships is what's going to drive your sacred service, all right? So the masterpiece of life, as expansive as it might appear, boils down to these 6 elements that drive 3 areas of activity: self-discovery, discipline, and sacred service. And so with those, I want to encourage you to be relentless and unwavering in creating the masterpiece of your life, and know that everything that you encounter is potentially contributing to your ability to create that masterpiece deliberately, purposefully, and with a true sense of authenticity and realness to yourself. Aboro aboye, aboshishen.